Welcome to the H&R Block College Football Pregame.
You just saw UCF finish off a perfect season. It is a perfect day in Pasadena, as most New Year's days in Pasadena are. Glad to have you with us. The Rose Bowl, this venerable stadium, an iconic part of the American sporting landscape, ready to host the first college football playoff semifinal of the season. Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual, featuring Oklahoma and Georgia, both teams making just their second Rose Bowl appearance all time. The Heisman Trophy winner, Baker Mayfield, who's been under the weather most of the week. Only one non-football related function did he do, and he appears to be the picture of health, or at least adrenaline, during the warm-up period here. The veteran Mayfield against the freshman Jake Fromm, who has been so steady for the Bulldogs after stepping in early in the season when Jacob Eason was injured. 2017 SEC Freshman of the Year. He's been terrific throwing the ball downfield. How much will the Dogs have to rely on him, or will they be able to feed the beast, Nick Chubb, and his backfield mate, Sony Michel? They, with a huge day, could become the most prolific rushing duo in terms of teammates in the history of the sport. And they are squaring off with the Wonder Kid coach, 34-year-old Lincoln Riley. Kid from Muleshoe, Texas, just stepped on this hallowed ground for the first time yesterday and hoping to get a huge, huge win today.
What places stir us? What sights stun us? What moments move us? It's why we watch and who we tell. Hope to come true. A miracle at nature. If faith is belief in things unseen, sport is the marvel of what we can see. So we watch. Not for the fact of what happens, but for the magic of what might. We watch for the urgency of now and the prayer of what's next.
And guess which dogs are barking? Baker Mayfield.
It's Chubby time in Athens, Georgia.
Sooners scoring.
We watch for the wishing more than the knowing, and the belief beyond the proof.
This stadium is bathed in shades of red and black for Georgia. So many have made the pilgrimage. You haven't been here in 75 years. Oklahoma also making its second appearance. Crimson and cream is prominent, particularly right above where we're sitting in the corner of the end zone. This pristine field, the Bermuda grass cut precisely between a ½ inch and 5/8 and a ready surface for this Oklahoma-Georgia matchup. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, Lee Corso, and David Pollack with you. What a scene we have. What a game we think we're going to have. Let's get right to it. What ultimately is the most important factor in deciding this game, David?
Well, both teams have perceived weaknesses. Who can mask it the most? For Oklahoma, it's their defense. Can their defense stand up, tackle the forceful nature that these running backs for Georgia? They can rotate three of them. And then on the other side, can Georgia's offense slow down the giant that has been Oklahoma?
The key to Oklahoma is their offensive line. They're huge, 6'5", 335 pounds, and they can block as well as anybody for the passer. They got a receiver, Mark Andrews. Mark that down. Brady has Gronk. Guys, he's the best clutch receiver, I think, in America.
Yeah, he's a huge tight end, averages 15 yards per catch, and an excellent weapon. But I think the storyline coming to the game is Baker Mayfield, the Heisman Trophy winner. His health, he hasn't been healthy since he's been in Pasadena, a little under the weather. He's a bundle of energy. This guy is emotional and physical energy on every play. And he not only does he infuse it to the offense, but the whole team feeds off of Baker Mayfield. If his gas gauge isn't at the full mark coming into this game, you would have to think fatigue may start to set in late, and then he's not going to be the same Baker Mayfield that we're accustomed to seeing late in the game.
You know, to your point about the impact Baker has on the entire team, really one of the inexplicable stats, the defense plays better when he gives them a lead. They cut down their rushing allowed numbers by 2.5 yards per carry when they have a touchdown or more lead. Lincoln Riley getting ready to lead his team. See what the status is with Baker Mayfield just a few minutes ago. Lincoln Riley with Tom Rinaldi.
Coach, we've talked about it being an inexact science on how to get a team to peak, essentially after a month of preparation. How do you see them in terms of their readiness right now?
I've got a lot of confidence in our team. I love the way we prepared, love the way that our leadership has pushed us along, and I think we're ready to play very well.
Your final message be to your group before they come out here for your first ever bowl game as a head coach?
Just be us. You know, we've been a great team throughout the year. We played our best ball at the end of the year. It's not going to take anything special today. We've just got to be the very best that we can be.
Appreciate the time and good luck, Lincoln.
All right, thank you, Tom.
And Tom, Oklahoma's won 4 straight against SEC opponents. That sort of runs counter to quarterbacks to win the Heisman Trophy and then playing a top 10 scoring defense in a bowl game. This is since the start of the BCS era, which started in 1998. Only Matt Leinart, who eviscerated Oklahoma in the national championship game, won. The rest lost. Certainly Georgia is one of those top 10 defenses. What impact do you think this could have in terms of more time to prepare, different kind of looks, even for an experienced guy like Mayfield?
I tell you what, the thing about these bowl games, like you said, you get more time to prepare. Teams start to self-scout, and they start to make their own corrections. But then it gives you an opportunity to start tweaking things and just add a little more to your offensive defense. I expect to see some differences on both sides of the ball for both teams today.
Well, especially a team like Georgia, too, preparing for the tempo that is Oklahoma. Oklahoma's obviously one of the faster teams in the country. You need time to prepare for that because you don't see it on an every-week basis. And how do they handle it early? Because that's going to be a big impact in this ball game if they can handle that tempo.
I think Baker Mayfield's got to really come out smoking and advantage. They've got to get ahead of Georgia. They'll play it running slow, and beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma can't score with Mayfield on the sideline.
That's right. That's exactly part of Georgia's game plan today. They are hoping to be able to keep number 6 over there watching on the side if they can. What a scene. Dogs and Sooners not far away.
Hasn't been an easy ride, has it? Between the yards and the touchdowns and the Heisman hype, you've had to make a lot of apologies.
I didn't mean it to be disrespectful at all. What I did, I crossed the line.
Win it all, and you never have to say sorry again.
This is the H&R Block College Football Pregame.
They list capacity at just over 89,000 here. There are going to be people squeezed in here, as many as can get a vision here with Oklahoma and Georgia set to go. Just a little while ago, Bulldog head coach Kirby Smart with Maria Taylor.
Coach, the last time you walked out of a tunnel with the team at the Rose Bowl, you were on your way to a national championship. How does that compare to walking out as the head coach of a college football playoff team?
Well, it's very similar. Really proud of this team and everything they've accomplished so far. Want them to cut loose and play and relax today. What a great atmosphere. What great weather we got.
What have you heard from the conversations with them, the body language you've seen, and what you've seen in their eyes leading up to this moment?
Hungry. They're hungry. They want to go play well, and they're excited to be here, so let's cut them loose.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, girl. Thank you.
There's the Grand Marshal of the Tournament of Roses parade this morning. More than 700,000 people watching it live on the side. Played Lieutenant Dan famously in Forrest Gump. Gary Sinise, a great star of stage and screen. And, of course, there's always the Rose Queen, Isabella Marie Merez. Queen Isabella is the queen for this year's Tournament of Roses festivities. Such a part of the American landscape here, to be part of everything, and it culminates with this great matchup here. All right, let's go X Factor here, right here in the game today. Who's it going to be?
I think Andrews for Oklahoma. He's a tough matchup, and I say that because Coach talked about him as a wide receiver because he is, but he's also such a big body. Even when he's covered, he's open in the red zone area where they do their RPOs the most. He'll be the biggest factor.
I'm going to introduce you to the next great running back in Georgia, number 7, DeAndre Swift. This guy is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's 5'9", 215 pounds.
And a bad man.
Yeah.
Watch him. He's the star of the future.
No, he's an exceptional running back. He's third on the depth chart, but he averages 8 yards per carry. So the future is bright for the Bulldogs. Yeah. I think it's going to be Hollywood Brown. Slight build, 5'11", by 160 pounds. But you're talking about fly, coach. This guy can pick him up and put him down. Averages 20 yards per reception. I think he could be a difference maker in this game.
All right, let's make some picks now. David, we're going to start with you. Who wins this first college football playoff semifinal?
I tell you what, it's going to be critically important for Georgia to handle the tempo early. I've gone back and forth just like everybody else probably in this game. I think Georgia's running game gives them enough. They force a turnover or two. They hold the football, keep 6 on the sidelines so they can't score as much. 34-31 Georgia.
Coach, who you got?
I got, listen, I love to pick Oklahoma because I get to shoot shotguns. but they don't allow shotguns in the Rose Bowl, so I have to go with Oklahoma or Sooner.
Just make believe. There you go.
I'm rolling with David. I think because of Baker Mayfield's health, we don't know just where he is coming to this game. Is the fuel tank on full? Is it three-fourths the way up the mark? So we don't know right now. And I think less than 100% Baker Mayfield is not good enough to beat the Georgia Bulldogs. So I'm going with the Bulldogs.
All right, 2 dogs, 1 Sooner.
And 1 big head
Good thing we don't have shotguns in here.
Coach has picked Oklahoma. We are not far away from the game broadcast. Chris Fowler is going to lead the way. It's going to be a great game, Chris.
We hope so, Reese. Thank you, and welcome, folks, to a setting that is as cinematic as any in sport. The Rose Bowl, bathed in hazy sunshine, this flawless, brand-new field, a proving ground for players from 2 proud championship programs who have collided never before today. The Oklahoma Sooners and the Georgia Bulldogs have each realized dreams just to be here, and now pursue another dream on this flawless California day.
This must feel like a dream.
All the leaves are brown.
One that swirled in your mind at night.
And the sky is blue.
And by day, stirred your soul.
California dreaming of.
The playoff semifinals.
I'm such a winner's day.
At the Rose Bowl.
All the leaves are brown.
You're here not by way of wonder, but by acts of will. By walking on, rising up, and walking off with the Heisman.
He's a surgeon. He's a magician. He's going to get into the end zone.
By standing your ground.
Going to get him at midfield.
And gaining it with a pack of Bulldogs unbound.
30, race to the end zone. 10, 5, touchdown.
This is no dream, but it is a vision.
There's something sacred about this game and this stadium.
An American tradition. The granddaddy of them all. Oklahoma and Georgia continue their magical ride in the playoff semifinals at the Rose Bowl.
It's the college football playoff semifinal at the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual, the 104th edition of the granddaddy of them all. Postseason football invented right here. And today's matchup is between the 2nd-seeded Oklahoma Sooners, champions of the Big 12, and the 3rd-seeded Georgia Bulldogs, champions of the SEC for the first time in a dozen years. An experience to cherish and savor for Oklahoma and Georgia faithful. Just the 2nd Rose Bowl game for each side. Georgia last year, New Year's Day 1943, when they brought a Heisman Trophy winner, Frank Sikowicz, and they shut out UCLA. And that pigskin played a part, and it's made the return trip to Pasadena. Oklahoma brings in this season's Heisman Trophy winner carrying the Pretenders sign. Lee Corso may have picked the Sooners just now, but he labeled them Pretenders preseason. Mayfield has been fueled by that. He's battled flu-like symptoms all week, but in the pregame, he seemed filled with his trademark fire and energy and ready to go with this semifinal game. Happy New Year from Pasadena. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, my partner here, working his 11th Rose Bowl game, more than any other analyst ever. Congratulations.
Honored, humbled. Thank you very much.
They're all special, but
Yeah.
when it's a playoff semifinal game leading off today's doubleheader with the nightcap and the All-State Sugar Bowl, that's the familiar game. Clemson and Alabama in the trilogy. This is the fresh matchup. Somehow they've never played before.
And they both have different storylines. The game later tonight is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Nick Saban try to get revenge against the Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swinney. This game does feel fresh. Think about Lincoln Riley. First year he's been a head coach. He brings the Sooners out to Pasadena, and the same could be said for Kirby Smart. Just his second year. He learned so much from Nick Saban, got his own program back at his alma mater, and here they are in the playoff out at the Rose Bowl. Pretty special.
Sooners back-to-back winners of the Big 12, led, of course, by the Heisman Trophy winner, Baker Mayfield, the magician, the maestro of this offense, and they score fast and furious. You know Mayfield's story. He won a state championship in Texas high school football, but was not showered with big-time offers. Walked on at Texas Tech, had a pretty good freshman season, but then left, and walked on again at Oklahoma, the game after Trevor Knight had just beaten Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. He won the job, two-time Big 12 Player of the Year, and, of course, the Heisman Trophy winner. He brings the energy, and he brings the fire, and his team certainly feeds off of all that, Kurt.
Well, that fire and that energy is paramount. I mean, we heard about he was not feeling well. First thing I thought about is I know he's going to play, but can he play 60 minutes and provide that spark that his team feeds off of? Now, as much as we talk about Baker Mayfield, if you're not familiar with Oklahoma, in my opinion, it's about their balance. It's about being able to run the football with these guys right here. Rodney Anderson has really come on the second half of the season, and a true freshman Trey Sermon, kind of a 1-2 punch for the Oklahoma offense. This offensive line, keep in mind, all 5 returned from last group. They've seen a lot of different defenses. They get a hat on a hat, and if they give Rodney Anderson room, look out. We talk so much about Georgia's backs. Be careful with what Oklahoma can do. How about Baker Mayfield? This is an example of why his team loves him. He's 40 or 50 yards downfield looking to try to pick up a block. The reason I think this is so important, when Oklahoma runs the ball, defenders get their eyes in the backfield, and it creates play-action opportunities for the quarterback Baker Mayfield to be able to make big plays. And this is the thing that I think Georgia's most concerned. Even when you get in, you have a chance to bring him down. He's stout. He's very calm and poised, and he's able to get out and create. And it puts the defense in a very difficult situation. So it's not just the execution. It's kind of that backyard football stuff that it's unpredictable. How does Georgia do in defending him in that scenario? Maybe you could tell us whether or not Georgia ends up winning the game.
Yeah, Oklahoma creates more big plays than any offense. The plays are called by Lincoln Riley, who became the head coach just 7 months ago, taking over for the legend Bob Stoops, the youngest head coach in the FBS. His counterpart is Kirby Smart in his second season at Georgia, but he's got a championship pedigree. He was a part of 4 championship teams as an Alabama assistant under Nick Saban.
It's been so much fun to watch Kirby finally get a chance to run his own program, and after all he learned from Nick Saban, but to be able to go back to your alma mater in just the second year, he changed the culture, and we can clearly see this team have a different identity, and a big part of the reason that they're here is that identity and what they've learned from him.
He changed the culture, but they got back to old-fashioned, hard-knocking Georgia football with a trio of running backs, actually.
Well, you think of Kirby Smart, you think of defense. But the reason they're here is the tandem of the backs that they have and how physical they are at the line of scrimmage. Everybody wants to see the big, bad SEC offense, the big offensive line against a Big 12 defense. How will Oklahoma match the physicality? Offensive line, Nick Chubb, who is one of the more physical backs, low center of gravity, great balance, bounces off of arm tackles. He's kind of the thunder to the thunder and lightning. Sony Michel, much quicker, much more elusive, but as he'll show you here, if you give him enough room right there, he also has the physicality and can run through those arm tackles. Now, in my opinion tonight, Oklahoma's going to stack the line. They have to. And when you do, true freshman Jake Fromm, the quarterback, will be given opportunities for things like this. Open receivers downfield, because the defense is so concerned about that big, strong running game, telling you this guy right here, if Georgia wins, could be the MVP because of his ability to make some big plays in the passing game.
True freshman, but not a normal true freshman. 19 years old, incredibly poised. I asked him, when's the last time in your life you felt uncomfortable?
That was
couldn't think of a time when he was uncomfortable. We'll see how he handles this today.
I don't know what I enjoyed more, you asking that question or him being perplexed. Like, I really don't know the last time I felt uncomfortable. This is a true freshman playing at the Rose Bowl in a playoff, and as calm as he could be, like he's a junior or senior as far as just the bigger the stage, I think he's one of those guys, the better he plays.
Can he make the Sooner defense uncomfortable? They've been doubted. They've been criticized. They've been challenged by their coaches. They give up a whole lot of big plays, but history says when they step out of the Big 12 and get challenged by an SEC team, they play better than you expect.
They'll play with a chip on their shoulder. And that's why I think early in this game, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, take some chances, play action pass to try to take advantage of the aggressive defense.
We can't wait. The beautiful stage is set. The storylines are rich. Time now for the national anthem, U.S. Army Chorus under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel Derek Shaw.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Goosebumps every single time. The B-2s from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, piloted by Lieutenant William Hepler, who's a big Georgia fan, and Captain Ryan Magner, Purdue grad. All right, get a deep breath. The Rose Bowl coming up. The Nissan pregame rush from Pasadena is coming up. But first, a look inside Nissan's Heisman House.
Welcome to the Nissan pregame rush. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy and the College Football Playoff.
Temperatures in the mid-70s for this 104th Rose Bowl game. A sea of red. Oklahoma is officially crimson, just slightly darker. These programs have combined for almost 1,700 wins, 104 bowl games. Somehow, they've never met until today. The spot in the championship game on the line. Georgia trying to go home to Atlanta for the game next Monday. Oklahoma trying to get back there, win it for the first time since 2000. The Sooners have won 23 of the last 24 games. Georgia, coming off the SEC championship, their first in a dozen years. Sooners slight underdogs in this game. Here they come. It's their first game in the state of California in a dozen years. 1,200 miles from home today. Georgia has traveled 2,000 miles, longer than all their other road trips this year combined. An experience today that none of these folks will ever forget. We hope we'll have an unforgettable show for you. These warm pictures here may help you thaw out if you're watching from a frigid part of the country. This has been the Nissan pregame rush.